College football analyst Rod Gilmore knows firsthand what it's like living with multiple myeloma following his diagnosis in July 2016. Rod is passionate about the importance of working with a team to develop a plan around managing the disease, which is why he's working to help raise awareness of important resources like Myeloma Most Valuable Plan, which helps patients better prepare for conversations with their doctors and work with their doctor and healthcare team to create a personal strategy for managing their disease.
Well, multiple myeloma is a blood cancer that is a very aggressive and complex disease that a lot of people haven't heard about. And when I first heard about it, I didn't know much about it. I was diagnosed and it was like drinking from a fire hose. I didn't know that it's marked by periods of remission and relapse over a long period of time. I just did not know where to go and how to figure out how to deal with it. And it took a while for me to get squared away with it. And so it's nice now to be working with Amgen and to have a myeloma MVP, which is the most valuable plan, which really helps people focus on how to manage multiple myeloma, how to build a team, how to set your goals for what you want to do, and for three, how to come up with a plan. So that's what I was excited about being able to do today, is kind of explain that and get that out there and have some people understand what it is and how to address it. Sure. Really, it's really difficult when you find out that you're diagnosed. What do you do? And the most important thing that I've discovered, and this plan provides you with, is how you build a team, and not just a team of your doctors and getting your medical situation squared away, but building a team that will help you manage this process. As I said, there will be ups and downs, periods of remission and relapse, and you have to sort of figure out what are your goals, setting your goals for what you want to do, whether that's work-related, socially, whatever it is, setting your goals going forward and then implementing a plan for that. It's not easy to talk to your family or to talk to colleagues and figure out what it is you need and want, but it helps you prioritize what you want to do. For me, the priority was making sure that I continued to work at a high level, making sure that I remained physically active with exercise and the like, and how I needed to incorporate people on my team that would help me achieve those things. Yeah, well, part of that included having people on my team who would help me with that, who would help me figure out how and when to travel, when I needed rest, what meetings I needed to be a part of, which meetings I did not need to be a part of, efficient ways of getting my research. If I could work at home, I could work at home as opposed to having to be in an office somewhere. So those are things that you have to work through and think through, and I think this MVP allows you to do that. You really focus on what are your priorities, and if one of the priorities is, continuing to work at the same level, how do you affect that plan? So the Myeloma MVP program allows you, or helps you anyway, think through this process of building your team, setting your goals, and then affecting that plan. I think that's right, and I think that's a process that everyone needs to think about. Now listen, when you get diagnosed, it's shocking, it's overwhelming, and for me it was like drinking from a fire hose, and so you're just kind of adrift initially. And if you can have a plan like this to kind of latch onto, to give you a place to start, to figure out what to do, that really helps. And so for most folks out there, I would say there are two messages that I would give you going forward. One is have an annual physical. My diagnosis came about because of an annual physical. I wasn't having any symptoms. I felt fine, but it was discovered that way. Had it not been discovered at that time, I would have been much worse off later. And then two, going to myelomaexplained.com. That will give you more information and will lead you on to figuring out how to use your MVP, the most valuable plan, to create the kind of support system that you need in dealing with this disease. Oh, I'm feeling great. And listen, I'll have to say, it's not just about me. I've got a lot of people around me who help me, manage this process and do what I need to do in order to continue to live the life that I want to live, the priorities that I set for myself with working as I do now, and for my exercise, and for making sure that I'm able to be socially active with the things that I want to be active with. So it really does take a group, and it takes thinking through what kind of a plan and what people you need on your plan that you can trust to help you get through that. It's a fascinating time in college football from that perspective. There's some places that I visit where you see no change in college football from 10, 20, 30 years ago. Some places in the Southeastern Conference where the attendance is still very high, the atmosphere is still very electric, and there are other places where it's very clear that people are drawn to maybe staying at home a little bit more, watching on the great television sets with the great technology that we have. I think there's so many more games available on TV that it's affected attendance. I think nationally we know that attendance has been down slightly in college football, but there are certain places in the country where attendance is not much of an issue. One of the things that I've been pushing for the last couple years is that I really believe that we should have more students at games, and I don't know why students aren't allowed to have free tickets to games, or it's just not included in their tuition package to make it easier, because that's the lifeblood of that experience there. If you don't have the students at your game, you're really missing out. That's where a lot of the energy comes from. Well, a couple of responses to that. One, I view this as there are really only right now 6 or 8 teams each year that have a realistic chance of winning the national championship, just because of the hoarding of talent and the amount of money that those programs spend to be where they are. And you can name them. We all know who they are: Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Oklahoma, those types of teams. And I'm a little different about expansion. I think we will see it. I don't think it will happen until this 12-year contract runs out. We've got another 6 years to go on it. And my own personal view is that if we go to 8 teams, that's fine, but there should be some way of including some of that additional money should be set aside, a portion of it, for players and player welfare, whether that is doing something for more medical coverage for players when their eligibility is up, or providing some additional compensation to them, something in some way, shape, or form. If you're going to increase it to 8 teams and bring that much more money in, I don't want that money to continue to go to the same places where it's going right now.